Let me ask you something. What comes to your mind when you hear the name Elon Musk? Maybe you think of rockets flying into space, electric cars driving silently down the road, or a billionaire posting strange messages online. But behind all of that noise is a story that is far more interesting. It is the story of a quiet boy who loved books more than people, a boy who felt different and alone, yet dreamed about changing the future. Today, you are going to learn English through his story, and at the same time, you might discover something about yourself too. So get comfortable, listen carefully, and let's begin our journey. Elon Musk was born in 1971 in a city called Pretoria in South Africa. At that time, South Africa was a complicated place to live. There were many social problems, and life was not always easy. Elon grew up in a family that was smart and creative. His mother, May, worked as a model and also helped people with their health and food. His father, Errol, was an engineer who liked machines and technical things. Elon also had a younger brother named Kimbo and a younger sister named Tosca. Even as a child, Elon did not behave like most children. He did not like small talk. He did not enjoy simple games. He wanted to know how the world worked, and he asked many deep questions that adults sometimes could not answer. Elon loved books more than anything else. When other children were playing outside, Elon was often sitting alone with a book. He read science fiction stories about robots, space travel, and faraway planets. He read books about inventors and scientists. He read books about computers and technology. These stories filled his mind with pictures of the future. He imagined humans living on other planets. He imagined machines that could think. While other kids dreamed about becoming famous athletes or singers, Elon dreamed about becoming an inventor who could change the world. One day, when Elon was very young, he found a computer. This was a big deal in those days because not many people had computers at home. Most people saw computers as something only big companies used, but Elon saw something different. He saw a tool that could bring his ideas to life. He began to teach himself how to write computer programs. Programming is like speaking to a machine in a special language and telling it exactly what to do. Elon learned this language quickly. He did not wait for teachers. He did not wait for permission. He just opened books, tried things, failed, and tried again. Soon, he was writing simple games and programs all by himself. School was not always a happy place for Elon. He was very smart, but he was also very quiet and different. Other children did not always understand him. Some of them were cruel. They made fun of him. They bullied him. Many days, Elon felt lonely. But instead of letting that stop him, he went deeper into his books and his ideas. His imagination became a safe place. Inside his mind, he could be anything. He could travel through space. He could build machines. He could solve big problems. Life at home was also not simple. Elon and his father did not always get along. His father was very strict and had strong opinions. This made Elon feel pressure and stress. Still, these difficult experiences helped shape him. They made him stronger, even when it hurt. They taught him that the world was not always kind, but that did not mean you should stop dreaming. Elon's family was not poor, but they were not rich either. They lived a normal life. This made Elon think a lot about the future. He wanted to do something meaningful. He wanted to build things that mattered. He wanted a life where he could use his mind to create, not just survive. As he grew older, he started to feel that South Africa was too small for his dreams. He wanted to see the world. He wanted to be in a place where new ideas were welcome, a place where innovation was celebrated. This growing desire set the stage for the next chapter of his life, a journey that would take him across the ocean to North America, where he would begin to turn his childhood dreams into reality. We hope you enjoyed this look into the early life of Elon Musk and learned some new English words along the way. There was another big reason he felt he had to leave. In South Africa at the time, all young men were required to join the army. Elon didn't want any part of that. He didn't believe in violence. He was a builder, not a destroyer. So he started planning his escape. Not out of fear, but with a sense of hope for what was to come. He'd look at a world map, dreaming about where his future could begin. At just 17, Elon made one of the most monumental decisions of his life. He chose to leave everything he had ever known behind. He said goodbye to his family, his home country, and the world of his childhood. He decided to move to Canada, a place he had never even visited. He didn't have much money, and he had no idea what would happen next. But he carried something far more valuable than cash. He had a dream. As his plane lifted off the runway, Elon wasn't just flying across the sky. He was stepping into a brand new life. A future filled with challenges, risks, and incredible opportunities lay ahead. He couldn't have known that one day, his name would be recognized all over the globe. He just knew one thing for certain: he wanted to build the future. And this was only the beginning. At first, Canada felt cold in more ways than one. The air was sharper, the streets were quieter, and everything was different from the bustling world he remembered in South Africa. But this new, unfamiliar place also felt full of possibility. Here, nobody knew him. Nobody cared who he used to be. He could become anyone he wanted. He initially stayed with relatives and took on odd jobs just to survive. He cleaned houses, he worked on farms. He did whatever he could to earn enough money to keep his dream alive. Those days were tough, but they taught him a vital lesson. No job is too small if it helps you move forward. Elon enrolled at a university in Ontario, Canada. Life as a student wasn't easy. He had to juggle work, his studies, and just getting by day to day. But Elon loved to learn. He was particularly drawn to science and business. For him, science was the key to understanding how the world worked, and business was the vehicle to turn ideas into reality. He spent countless nights reading, studying, and thinking about how technology could revolutionize people's lives. While other students were planning their weekends, Elon was busy thinking about the future of humanity. After some time, Elon realized that Canada was just a stepping stone on his journey. He set his sights on the United States, the birthplace of many of the world's biggest tech companies. He applied to the University of Pennsylvania and was accepted. This was a huge moment. It meant moving again, starting over again, and facing a whole new set of challenges. But Elon was already an expert at that. He packed his bags and crossed another border, always ready to chase his dreams. At the University of Pennsylvania, Elon focused on two very different subjects: physics and economics. Physics helped him understand the fundamental laws of the universe: energy, matter, and motion. Economics taught him about money, markets, and how businesses scale. To most people, these fields might seem worlds apart, but for Elon, they were the perfect combination. If you want to build something that changes the world, you need to understand both how things work and how people will use and buy them. Elon worked incredibly hard. He wasn't the kind of student who just did enough to pass. He wanted to know everything. He dove deep into his subjects, asking questions that made even his professors pause and think. His classmates saw him as quiet but intensely focused, always lost in thought. When he graduated, he held 2 degrees and a mind overflowing with ideas. One of those ideas was about the internet. Back in the 1990s, the internet was just starting to take off. Most people couldn't yet see how powerful it would become. But Elon did. He envisioned a future where people used computers for everything, such as finding information, shopping, and connecting with each other across the globe. This vision excited him more than any lecture ever could. Imagine this. You get into Stanford for your PhD, one of the best universities on the planet. What do? Well, if you're Elon Musk, you show up, look around, and leave after just 2 days. Why? Because the internet was exploding, and he knew the real action wasn't in a lecture hall. He felt a tidal wave of change coming, and he wanted to be riding it, not just reading about it. Leaving a place like Stanford sounds crazy, right? People definitely thought he was nuts, but Elon trusted his gut. He believed that waiting for the right time was a bigger risk than jumping in headfirst. Starting Zip2 was an uphill battle. They were so broke they literally slept in their office. Elon coded day and night, fueled by pure determination, while Kimball hit the streets, trying to sell their vision. They heard no a lot. Doors slammed in their faces, but they kept pushing. And slowly, one yes at a time, their little company started to grow. A few years later, a major computer company bought Zip2, and just like that, Elon Musk was a millionaire. He could have cashed out, bought an island, and retired. But that's not his style. For Elon, money was never the end goal. It was fuel. So he poured it all into his next big idea, an online payment company called X.com. This venture would eventually merge with another and become the PayPal we all know today. When PayPal was sold to eBay, Elon became incredibly wealthy. Again, he could have stopped, but he didn't. He saw money as a tool to solve even bigger problems. With the PayPal fortune in his pocket, Elon stood at a crossroads. While most would choose a life of comfort, he felt a deep responsibility to tackle humanity's greatest challenges. He'd always been a fan of science fiction, dreaming of humans exploring the stars. So he started asking some serious questions. Why is space travel so expensive? Why aren't we on Mars yet? He dove deep into the world of aerospace and was shocked by what he found. The technology was outdated, incredibly costly, and controlled by governments. Elon believed space should be for everyone. So in 2002, he did the unthinkable. He started his own rocket company, SpaceX. The goal was audacious, almost impossible: build cheaper, better, and most importantly, reusable rockets. At the time, rockets were used once and then discarded like a disposable coffee cup. Elon envisioned rockets that could fly to space, land back on Earth, and be ready to fly again. In the beginning, SpaceX was a story of near disaster. Rockets exploded, tests failed repeatedly. The money was disappearing at an alarming rate. Engineers poured their lives into the work, pulling endless hours, yet it often felt like nothing was going right. Elon Musk put almost all of his personal fortune on the line, betting everything on this one dream. There were moments when SpaceX was just a single failure away from shutting down forever, but Elon refused to give up. He saw every failure not as an end, but as a lesson. Every explosion was a masterclass in what not to do, teaching his team how to build a better rocket for the next attempt. Then, in 2008, something incredible happened. After a string of heartbreaking failures, one of their rockets, the Falcon 1, finally reached orbit. This single success changed everything. SpaceX proved to the world that a small private company could achieve what only powerful governments had done before. Soon after this breakthrough, NASA awarded SpaceX a massive contract to ferry supplies to the International Space Station. Suddenly, SpaceX wasn't just a risky dream anymore. It was a real, history-making company, but Elon wasn't stopping there. At the same time, another big idea was taking shape in his mind. He was deeply concerned about the future of our planet, believing that gasoline-powered cars were a major cause of pollution and climate change. He wanted to be part of the solution, to help create a cleaner future. This vision led him to a small, struggling electric car company called Tesla. Their mission was to build cars that ran purely on electricity. In those early days, many people laughed at the idea. Electric cars were seen as slow, boring, glorified golf carts. But Elon saw them differently. He didn't just want to make an electric car. He wanted to make the best car, period. He envisioned electric cars that were fast, beautiful, and exciting to drive. He wanted people to choose them not just because they were green, but because they were superior in every way. The road was incredibly difficult. The first Tesla cars were expensive and a nightmare to manufacture. The company teetered on the brink of bankruptcy multiple times. Once again, Elon stepped in, using his own money to keep the dream alive. He worked day and night, often sleeping on the factory floor, personally overseeing every detail. Slowly but surely, Tesla began to find its footing. Their cars started gaining popularity, and people began to see electric vehicles in a completely new light. As Tesla grew, so did Elon's reputation. He was no longer just another tech entrepreneur. He was becoming a symbol of relentless innovation, a person who dared to tackle problems that others deemed impossible. Some admired his tenacity, others criticized his methods, but one thing was certain: everyone was watching. Elon Musk was now running two of the most ambitious companies in the world. One was aiming for Mars, the other was revolutionizing how we drive on Earth, and this was just the beginning of his story. As his companies grew, so did the immense pressure on his shoulders. Running one revolutionary company is a monumental task, but Elon was leading two, both in industries where a single mistake could be catastrophic. Rockets could explode. Cars could have critical failures. People's lives and fortunes were constantly at stake. Yet, Elon seemed to thrive under this pressure. Where others saw risk, he saw opportunity. At SpaceX, the next great challenge was reusability. For decades, rockets were single-use machines, discarded after every launch, making space travel prohibitively expensive. Elon had an idea that sounded like pure science fiction. Build rockets that could fly to space and then land themselves back on Earth to be flown again. After many spectacular failures, explosions, and crash landings, one day, a SpaceX rocket did something that stunned the world. It soared into space, delivered its payload, and then gracefully descended, landing perfectly upright on a landing pad. It was a historic moment, broadcast live for all to see, space travel would never be the same again. Meanwhile, at Tesla, the revolution was also accelerating. New models were being released, each one quieter, faster, and packed with groundbreaking technology. For the first time, cars could be updated with new features through over-the-air software updates, just like a smartphone. This was unheard of in the traditional auto industry. Soon, even the biggest car manufacturers started to follow Tesla's lead, scrambling to develop their own electric vehicles. The electric car was no longer a niche joke. It was undeniably the future. Elon also started thinking about energy. He believed the world needed clean power, not just clean cars. That's why he helped create solar energy companies and big batteries that could store power. His dream was a world where homes, cars, and cities could run on energy from the sun and wind. It wasn't just about business. To Elon, it was about survival. He worried that if humans didn't change how they used energy, the planet would suffer. But Elon's life wasn't only about work. As he became more famous, people began to follow everything he said and did. He used social media to speak directly to the public. Sometimes he shared jokes. Sometimes he shared big plans. Sometimes he caused controversy. His words could move stock prices and start arguments across the internet. Being so visible made his life more complicated, but he didn't seem to mind. He liked speaking freely. Then one day, Elon made another shocking move. He decided to buy a huge social media company. He believed that free speech and open communication were important for the future. So he bought Twitter and changed its name to X. This caused a storm of reactions. Some people supported him. Others were angry. But once again, Elon had stepped into a world that no one expected him to enter. Through all of this, one thing stayed the same. Elon Musk kept thinking about the future. He talked about humans living on Mars. He talked about artificial intelligence. He talked about changing how people travel, communicate, and even think. Many of his ideas sounded crazy. But so did electric cars and reusable rockets once. Elon's story is not just about success, it is about courage. It is about taking huge risks and believing in your ideas even when others doubt you. From a lonely boy in South Africa to one of the most powerful innovators in the world. His journey shows that the future is not something that happens to us. It is something we build. If you enjoyed this story, don't stop here. Your next English adventure is waiting for you. Click the next video to continue learning with another exciting story that will help you improve your English while discovering something new.